Hi everyone, thank you for joining today. I know it's getting to that time where everyone just wants a beer, but we're really excited to be here. A wise person who's in the audience said to me, always start with your name, an introduction is good. So hi everyone, I am Fern Townhend. I'm the head of sport at Tech, which is the Tezos ecosystem company. I am delighted to be here today with two people that are friends as well as colleagues. We spend a lot of time talking, so it's nice to talk in front of people, right? So thank you for joining me. This is Greg Halfacre from Man United. You are the digital innovation lead, and before joining Man United, you worked at GQ and The Sun. Mm-hmm. Olly, thank you for joining us. Olly is our staff engineer at Tech and has worked on the Man United project pretty much since the start, I think, and on building Canvas, which we're going to talk about as well. Olly, before you came to Tech, you were VP of Engineering at 1047 Games.
Yeah.
Super exciting. So, thank you for joining. I also just wanted, before I start, to say it's been really great to be here today and to hear so much passion for this space and so much desire to win. I think how we win is from learning from each other and learning from the challenges that we've faced. We've been partnered with Man United for over 2 years now, and we've done multiple drops, which we're going to talk about. And I just hope that everyone can take something away from today. We're going to be honest about the challenges. We're going to talk about the successes, which there have been. But anyway, let's kick off with Greg. Can you tell us, Man United is a huge brand. How do you go about entering a new space? Because Web3 was, we partnered a few years ago and it was still very fresh and very new. Like, what made you guys enter into it?
Well, you talk about winning, and obviously as a football club, first things first, you've got to win on the pitch. But the role I play, or my team play broadly at Man United, is trying to create those best-in-class fan experiences. That's where we're looking to win as well. And when we identify a new space or a new area, we've got to be thinking through the lens of, can that unlock new, interesting, innovative fan experiences? And blockchain makes a lot of sense for football fans, because your fandom, your fan experience with a club is kind of locked in with all of these different physical items, these things that you collect as a fan, from tickets to games to matchday programs to posters, trading cards of your favorite players. Those on blockchain, suddenly they're not about the matchday experience, they're about digital, and they're scalable, and they work across the whole world, and they live in your wallet, they're permanent. So you've got these things that add up to your fandom, and they exist in a wallet, easy, they're not in a box somewhere, they're not at the back of your attic, they're in your wallet, and it all adds up to that overall fan experience. And I think the journey we've been on the last 2.5 years with Tezos, we've added a lot of value to our fans by creating this space. And
so your home of digital collectibles is Canvas, which is actually a product that Olly and his team developed alongside Man United. Other brands such as McLaren and Flow Sports have used it as well. But Olly, for those that don't know what Canvas is, can you tell us a bit about Canvas?
Yeah, so Canvas is our audience engagement platform. So we built it in a way to help people who are Web2 literate, which is the majority of the Man United fans, be introduced to Web3 and be able to collect collectibles on Web3. And the kind of experience starts with a social login, which is something that Web2 users would be familiar with. And then we kind of guide them through the process, increasingly exposing them to Web3 concepts so that they can engage more and more. So, Canvas allows us to deploy collectibles at scale. So it started off with just NFTs, but now we have a kind of a wide range of ways that our partners, including Manchester United, can engage. So we have rewards, we have certain collectibles that are token gated, we have blind packs, we have proof of attendance, and we've also moved into some slightly different audience engagement areas, such as AI-powered games, and that kind of thing as well. So yeah, so that's kind of an overview of it. And we've worked with partners including Manchester United, McLaren, Vitality, and some art galleries and artists like the Serpentine and Deca Art. Yeah, so that's kind of that's Canvas.
Amazing, thanks. So I am going to try and make this clicker work, which everyone else has done seamlessly. Is it? No. But it's up. Guys. Do you think we could get the slides? Here we go. Good start. Cool. So do you think that you could just talk us through your journey so far? We're going to get some visuals up. Mm-hmm. There we go. If you could just talk us through where you started and kind of how we've got here.
Yeah.
And what you've learned.
So this is 2 years worth of Manchester United being incredibly deep in Web3. And I hate the fact that 2 years of work can be summarized with 6 images on a slide.
Good images, though.
Good images, great artwork, great drops. I'll walk you through it chronologically. So the keys at your top left, this was the gateway to Manchester United fans entering Web3. So they signify unlocking that journey. Mass drop, big free piece, 888,000 claimed, incredible noise around it, very exciting. That quickly followed with the Devils, which is middle of the top row. This was generative art, PFP, 7,777 unique Devils. And what we did is we took the IP, core IP of Manchester United, we're the Red Devils, for anyone in the audience who didn't know that. And we kind of broke down that IP into characteristics, inspiration, and that connects to the top right with Devil rewards. So the characteristics of your Devil, once triggered by an on-pitch action, so you see the trident on the Devil, if Manchester United player scores a hat-trick, that unlocks another unique artwork that can only be claimed by owners of that Devil. So you're incentivized to keep trading, to keep picking up Devils, to trade them, and basically collect as many as you want, as many as you need. Now, if that's starting to sound a bit niche and meta, last season we kind of took a step back and we, through Collect United, which is an example on the bottom left, we took what our way of reimagining what a match day program might look like in Web3. So there's a unique piece of art for every home game for the men's and the women's team. And what it really allowed us to do is kind of build that anticipation. So a couple of days before each match, we'd kind of come up with a story. Who appears on the artwork would be something that the Discord community would talk about. They'd speculate. They got really excited about it. And that was an incredibly successful drop. Did 750,000 claims across last season. And we kind of took that kind of football, that core football focus, and we took it to a completely next level with Players Collection. That's the middle bottom. So what Players Collection is essentially we take a player, and this one was Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes is like a worldwide star. He's the men's first-team captain. He scored like so many iconic goals for Manchester United. So we got him to sit down and rank his top 10 goals, and the way he described them, the technique, the emotion, how the crowd was that day. We took those words and we built artworks around each one. So we got 10 beautiful artworks. They came in the blind packs that Olly mentioned, and the idea was that you complete your collection to unlock the 11th collectible, which is a kind of summary of them all. So we learned a lot from that, but I think probably the theme of these 5 is primarily art, primarily reward-based was the utility, and bottom right, and I know we're going to spend a bit more time on player trading cards, this is our first foray into gamification, and that was started this season, so launched 2 or 3 months ago.
Also, a little bit off piece, because I know we didn't discuss this, but I think it's worth calling out that you have the largest football Discord community. Do you think that's been really pivotal in bringing that community with you on this journey?
It's really pivotal because they give you such great feedback, and we've nurtured that audience, we've invited them on the journey, we've consulted them at different points. Yes, it's the largest, but they're incredibly engaged, they're incredibly passionate. They hold us to account, which is a good thing, and mostly. But they really challenge us, and it's been crucial for shaping all of this.
Thank you. Olly, looking at these drops that we've got here, the evolution of Canvas and the journey that we've been on with Man United, can you talk a little bit about technically how that's worked and how you guys have worked as a partnership?
Yeah, definitely. So, yeah, I think that seeing the evolution of these different products or different drops that we've done with Manchester United, yeah, it kind of traces the history of Canvas. Either that's been because Manchester United is obviously such an important partner that they've helped us kind of drive the evolution of the features and the products that we're providing, but also if there's been something that we've done with another partner, you know, Manchester United have been so open to seeing how that could also potentially fit in. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't with their fans. So yeah, definitely, you know, the first two, Keys and Devils, that was all about NFTs, kind of in its most kind of basic way, you know, unique tokens for the fans that they could collect. And then rewards. The Devil Rewards started to introduce the concept of token gating in a more interesting way. You know, the collectible was only available to users who already had a certain Devil. So that was obviously a new mechanism. And then with Collect United, that was kind of taking the scale of the thing to a new level. So as Greg mentioned, Devils was 7,777, but Collect United was on a whole new level. So we had to find a way to kind of make Canvas scalable, you know, kind of a few orders of magnitude larger. And yeah, Players Collection, that was blind packs, so that was adding in randomization and
they're all animated.
And animated as well, yeah. So adding video support as well. So that was a new mechanism as well. And then player trading cards was kind of
which we're going to go on to talk through.
Yeah, blowing the whole thing open. that had a lot more mechanics that we can definitely talk about for sure. Yeah.
Lovely segue, thank you.
Yeah.
So let's talk about player trading cards and Fantasy United, which I have to say I love and I'm really excited about. Greg, can you tell us about it?
Well, we can talk about it. We can also watch, I think.
We can, hopefully, if I can make the clicker work.
Take your love for United to the next level. Dive into a fantasy world of United fans. Collect your favourite players. Classic, rare, and ultra-rare cards. Watch the stats update in real time. Choose 5 players for each match.
We're in the sweetest of strikes.
Score points as United play.
Maguire with a flick.
Compete with your mates in mini leagues.
It's
And climb to the top of the overall table. Collect player trading cards. Play Fantasy United.
I have to say, I was on that shoot, and it looks smooth, but holding a phone up like that with a camera running at you, God, there was a lot of text.
Scary?
There was a lot of text.
Cool. So, I mean, the video does capture the essence of it. It makes me excited. But do you want to talk a little bit about it and the project?
Yeah, and actually, if you flick onto the next slide, you can see the two together. So the two parts of the project, player trading cards and Fantasy United. The player trading cards are these beautiful hand-drawn players. The whole men's first-team squad had their own illustration, and they're turned into classic, rare, and ultra-rare. What's really cool about this, and I know Olly wants to talk a little bit more about this, is the dynamic stats. So as a player is on the pitch, making an appearance, making a pass, scoring a goal, that is updated, that NFT is updated in real time in people's wallets at scale. That was an incredible piece of work, and the audience have been really, really excited about that. And then the other cool thing about player trading cards is you build your collection, and there are rewards along the way for reaching certain milestones. Having a certain player, when they score 2 goals, unlocks another reward. But what's really cool is that you take that collection and you pick them in a Manchester United-only five-a-side fantasy football game. So the first Premier League club to do a Web3 fantasy football game, and it's gone incredibly well. The audience love it. It's got quite simple mechanics. So you pick 3 classic players. They score normal fantasy points. Your rare card scores double, and your ultra rare scores triple. And it's given a kind of completely new type of fan experience that is only really enabled by blockchain. And I mean, they do it. Thousands are coming back every week to change their team. They're going back for more packs because they realize they're missing out on points by not having a certain player that they wanted to pick in their ultra rare.
The average person has like 6.5 packs, don't they?
Oh, yeah, they're absolutely addictive. I mean, the whole pack opening process is very addictive.
I mean, Sunil's got a lot as well, Sunil in the audience.
But yeah, it's to be honest, it's been an incredible project to be part of, and a massive engineering feat. I mean, hats off to Olly and the team. A hugely ambitious element. I've worked in fantasy football for many years, and it's not gone as smooth out of this, and you throw in the NFT and the dynamic stats and all this stuff. It was a very, very ambitious project.
Thank you.
I think something that we touched on, which is also in the title of what we're talking about, and the challenge is bringing a Web2 audience to Web3. I think this is doing. We've gone back to the start and said, I mean, you did research around it, like what do fans want? And they said they'd like a fantasy game. So I think knowing your audience, that would definitely be a learning for me across this project, was know your audience. And then, I guess, Olly, how knowing a Web2 audience and designing this product and building it, how have you made sure that it's usable for them?
Yeah, I think the first thing is it needs to be a kind of seamless onboarding experience for a Web2 user. There's a lot of terminology and concepts in Web3 that I think can be quite intimidating. So that was the first thing that we wanted to do. And as I mentioned earlier, social login is something that feels safe and familiar, and is safe and familiar. So that's kind of where we start. And then making sure that each step through the process is just a small increase in maybe the complexity or the terminology. And there's always clarity about where you are in that flow. So if you're introduced to a new concept that maybe you're not familiar with, it's clear, okay, at least I know I'm at this point through the process, and maybe there's some Web2 analogies to make you feel a bit more grounded and that kind of thing. So that was kind of the first step. I think the second step as well was to allow payments using fiat, through Stripe, so that they could use credit cards instead of having to use crypto or something like that. Because again, that's a whole process that can be very intimidating and complicated, and with KYC and all these kind of things. So that was number two. I'd say the third one was probably performance. Web3 has the kind of performance timing issues are sometimes quite kind of unusual to Web2 users. They expect their order to be completed instantaneously instead of having to wait for 3 blocks for their transaction to be verified and all these kind of things. So we wanted to make everything feel snappy and feel responsive, and that also comes to the web experience as well. If you're got bad cell phone reception or something like that, it needs to feel Web2 standards, because users don't tolerate a rubbish experience. And then the final thing, as Greg mentioned, was those live updates, making sure that if Bruno Fernandes scores a goal, as soon as possible, you can see in your wallet that the NFT is updated, and you can see it in the image, because that really, really excites users and engages users and makes it feel responsive and makes it feel real and organic and all of those kind of things, which are maybe terms that some users wouldn't necessarily associate with Web3.
And the mini leagues, I think that's been such a core part of building a community and bringing new users on. Because I think, Greg, you were saying earlier, there's some amazing stat around like 60% of owners are new to Web3, which I think is fantastic for this project.
I think you break down what Olly's talking about in terms of the onboarding journey, and lots of the features within this are core Web2 features, like a fantasy football game, mini leagues, all of these things that drive fantasy football in the Web2 world. We've replicated them, and then you add in all the exciting things that are only enabled by blockchain. Yeah,
amazing. Can you tell us a little bit about what's to come with this product, where you see it going? How are you going to keep people engaged?
Yeah, so one feature that we've got coming up is called head-to-head. So, I mean, I guess as an engineer, maybe I'm best placed to kind of explain like how it works, and maybe you can explain, why. So essentially what it is, for example, I could set up one of these head-to-head challenges and invite both of you. And what that would mean is that over the next 3 games, we would, well, I suppose 2 games, we would each play each other in 2 rounds. So, and depending on who won and who lost, you would get points like you do in a league table. So let's say that, Fern beat me, she gets 3 points, I get 0 points, or if we drew, we'd get 1 point each, or something like that. And then we have a mini kind of league table between us for the duration of that. So you can do one of these head-to-head challenges for up to 8, a group of 8. So instead of you, I'll kind of leave the details to you, but in terms of the why. But it's a different mechanic, and it's more about the head-to-head between 2 specific users than it is me against the rest of the Man United fandom, I suppose.
Before you jump in, can I just say, I think actually how the partnership works is really nice with this, because I know you're going to go on to why we're doing it, but to be able to respond by delivering. So when we started the product, we hadn't come up with that we were going to do head-to-head, right? So then to be able to iterate on the product, I think that is such a key part of a partnership, to be able to take that feedback and say, okay, how would we work together to get more users? Because we've got a great conversion, but we want a bigger conversion, right? That's what it's about, bringing more Web 2 people into Web 3. So anyway, you talk to us about why we're doing it.
You're totally right. The idea came from audience feedback, personal perception, gut feel, and it really, head-to-head is all about 90% of fantasy football players are most excited, most engaged, got the best chance to win before the season's even started. That first game happens, you make a couple of errors, you're halfway down your mini league like Olly, and you're out of it. Head-to-head is the antithesis of that. It's like you isolate a single game, you play against that game, and it's a 50-50 coin toss, but you've got a better chance of winning than you have with your mini league. And there was a moment, it was actually the first game of the season, we got a group together, we watched the game, we all set up a team, we all joined that mini league, and these were well-read, interesting, smart people. They talked about Fantasy United for 2 hours. They were absolutely obsessed because it had that competitiveness on the first day of the season, anything can happen. Head-to-head bottles that up, you isolate a single game, anything can happen, you're against one person, and I think that it's a wonderful product, and like you said, it's come from insight, perception, and just generally both being plugged into what works.
Yeah, 100%. I'm aware we don't have that long left, so let's keep our answers for the next couple short. I know we've spoken quite a bit about barriers, but if you were to summarize some of the biggest barriers that you have seen, should we go Greg first or Olly first? Greg first?
I'll go. It actually builds on one of the strengths that Olly said. In Web3, the user journey is still a very scary experience for lots of core football fans. Some of the language is very scary. It feels fine to this group, but connecting a wallet can feel scary. Connecting via Kukai or Beacon, paying with crypto, all of these things are very alien. And you take Barry from the official Man United supporters group, who puts on a coach every week to Manchester United. You explain these things to him, and they sound very, very intimidating. And actually, a good example is I did a load of calls with the supporters groups, the chairmans. They love the cards, they love the fantasy game. They think, I'll take this back to my group, and we'll play this every week. And then you get screenshots and messages, and is this word right, or what does this mean, or should I see this screen at this point? And I think Canvas has done its best in class, in my opinion, for this user journey. But we've got to be patient, we've got to manage that message, and we've got to take that core football fan on the journey with us.
Olly?
Yeah, I'm building on that. I 100% agree with your point. I think that's the most important one. I think you need to allow the users to trust you as well. I think that's really important when users are paying money for in a new world that maybe they're not familiar with. And I think it needs users want instantaneous feedback, and it needs to scale as well. I think those are really important. And the final one is making sure that the product fit is correct. It's all very well just kind of throwing out the concept of Web3, but it's got to be the right fit for the right audience.
I feel like probably my last question we've already answered. What are your biggest learnings if you were to share it with this group? Just super short and snappy. What would be your feedback on your journey?
Patience is a virtue.
In life.
In life and Web3, yeah. Patience. Created a compelling reason for them to come across. We created lots of compelling reasons, and then Fantasy United was the most compelling reason we've created so far. I think that's an incredible learning. And then just if you're going to do something, get Olly to make it.
Mine, I guess, yeah, if you're going to get build
Olly,
something, get
yeah?
me to do it. It sounds pretty reasonable. No, absolutely not. I would say understand the audience, number one. Follow the data, listen to the data, I think is important as well. And a big one that we've learned, I think, is, keep it simple. There's enough new concepts from a product and engineering point of view, so don't overcomplicate it.
Agreed. Guys, thank you so much for your time today. We are here. We've also got some other people from the team. Sunil, if you want to, wearing the red jumper, super subtle. And Kyle's here as well. So if anyone wants to chat to us about any of the projects we've done or talk about Canvas, come find us. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you.